Welcome to this speedrun of The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I will be doing an any percent glitchless today. The first part of any run, we have to get through the tutorial. It is a forced teaching you how to play the game, and every new game requires it. There's not a whole lot of speed tech in the tutorial. There's a couple small time saves, but mostly it's just trying to do everything as quickly and efficiently as possible. First, it's going to teach us that there's weapons that we can store on our hips, on our back. We have a backpack, how to use it, how to pull things out of it. And we just try to fly through this as quickly as possible. Now we're taught how to deal with zombies. We have a couple of these dummy zombies here. How to use two-handed weapons. Our first small time save is right here. Instead of getting grabbed by these zombies, we can actually grab them and throw them back, preventing them from teaching us the grab mechanic. The first major boss in this game is always this gun. For whatever reason, I can never get this to cock easily. I have to pull it 2 or 3 times before it'll finally go. And the tutorial is complete. So the main premise behind this game is that it takes place in the Walking Dead universe in Louisiana. We are just a survivor who meets a gentleman on the trails called Henri. He lets us know that down in Louisiana there is this military reserve full of food, medicine, weapons, all sorts of supplies that, for whatever reason, was never distributed. And it's his goal to find it. So we agree to meet him at his base and kind of help him look for it. So to start off, we are going to the graveyard where he positions himself. Obviously the graveyard is the best place to be in a zombie apocalypse. We choose not to pick up the screwdriver there because it's actually faster to not kill zombies in most situations. If you just grab them, politely ask to move aside, they'll let you walk right on by. Just a quick shove makes them stumble back, and they will drop aggro for a few seconds. They can't grab you, they can't do anything, and you can just keep right on running. So here's our friend Henri. He likes to hang around. We'll just give him a quick wave, and we find our central hub. It's here that you can do crafting, get food, weapon upgrades, supplies, and it's also where we can teleport to all the major areas. First task of the game is to repair the radio, because Henri was communicating with somebody through the radio about the reserve. Unfortunately, Henri does not have a working microphone, so to fully repair the radio, we have to venture out into Louisiana and find a working microphone. We pick up these ammo because one of the weapons we picked up there at the beginning was the handgun. And it is one of the most crucial pieces in this speedrun because we do a lot of death warping. And if you shoot yourself in the head, it's an instant death no matter how much health you have. So immediately what we're looking for is food. Any kind of cans of soda, canned foods, anything. Eating them restores our stamina and reduces our max health. Max health cannot go less than 50%, and we want as much stamina as we can get because it allows us to run longer and further. Coming up on the radio here, I'll explain the death warping. Whenever you die in this game, you drop your backpack and all of its contents wherever you died, and you have to get back to that point to claim the contents. However, any key items or items that are held in your hand when you die are in your new backpack. So we don't really carry much more than we need. Once we have the microphone, we just shoot ourselves in the head. And upon death, we respawn right back at the boat, which allows us to immediately return to the resting place. There will be a few times where I find an extra can of food or a can of soda, and I will hold it in my hand when I shoot myself. This allows that can of food to appear in my backpack for use later. Here you can see the gun was in my hand when I shot myself, however it's in my backpack now. The main reason for this is every time the level reloads, items are randomized. Everything on the ground. There's a few items, like quest items and such, that will always be in the same location. However, if you were to drop your gun upon dying, it wouldn't be there anymore when you come back. And I suppose the developers thought it would be better to just give you your gun in your backpack so you don't have to worry about no longer having a weapon.
Your word? Not yet. Maybe. And believe me, things you're not gonna...
So upon repairing the radio, we meet our mysterious radio contact. Henri had a journal that told us to go to a specific channel and say the keyword waterfall. And then we start this conversation with a very suspicious individual.
I get it. Your turn.
Partway through talking to him, however, we're going to hear a noise off in the distance. It's going to spook him, and we need to go investigate.
Know anything about that? I'm telling. There's no reason to try. What do you mean by if you're not up here with the... That's in fact, I don't...
This opens up the Catacombs. Venturing down into the Catacombs, there is always set zombie spawns. Immediately upon coming in here, we're going to see two of them. Here I can kind of show off the shove mechanic. If you shove a zombie, not only will it stagger, any zombie it hits will also stagger. So if there's multiple zombies around, you can easily get through. There's two more zombies who always spawn right here, and they can sometimes be a problem with me trying to control stamina and get up here to grab the key we need, so I find it quicker to just take them out. Now that we've picked up the key, we can go back to the graveyard, where a locked gate will be waiting for us. Here's our zombie friends from the beginning. They kind of tracked us a bit. Again, all we have to do is just ask them to politely move aside, and they let us right by. Alright, it's now here that we are introduced to a new character called May Benoit. She is working against the two gangs who control the city. Upon picking up our information, we now know that we need to go find some intel at one of the site locations to assist May Benoit. It's not quite revealed yet, however, May is important to getting into the reserve as she has a key. Without this key, we will not be able to get into the reserve later in the game. So we have to help her and get on her good side. Here again, we're just going to look for food items, cans of soda, anything like that. As you can also see, our max stamina actually goes down over time. And eating food items not only replenishes current stamina, it replenishes max stamina. So it's very crucial to find lots of food. This last can of food I found I don't necessarily need, because right here's the key item I need. So I'm going to hold it in my hand while I wave at my neighbors, and they kill me. This allows the can of beans to appear in my backpack for use later. So now that we have the intel, we can go drop it in the same location that May had given us the information of where to find it.
May Benoit has the waterfall.
It turns out she's kind of working as a resistance against the two rival gangs of Louisiana. And there's the Tower and the Reclaimed. They are both trying to find the reserve and tearing up the city in the process. They kidnap a friend of May, and she's gathering this intel to try to find out where the friend is being held. So we drop it in the meeting point, and with that we can now go back and take a nap in our bus. So immediately upon the new day, we meet our radio friend again. He lets us know that he needs some help. He's actually in the reserve, as it turns out, and the reserve is currently flooding because all of Louisiana is having flood problems. And that nobody is getting in or out of the reserve unless we can drain the water. So he lets us know that there is a water pump found by the tower, and if we can go get it and install it, we can start draining the water to ultimately let us get into all that nice supplies. Make or breaks for this game is pretty much the luck of the draw on food spawns, since items are just in random locations and the type of items are random. So the more food I find, the faster I can go. So here we find our first tower base, the first real humans we meet. Gun accuracy in this game is absolutely abysmal. You could be 2 inches in front of somebody aiming right at their head and it'll miss, so sometimes it takes more than one shot. We waste to our neighbors, we have the pump, and now we're back to the skiff. There's 3 pumps total in the game, and each of them kind of have a little mini puzzle to calibrate them. If you're talking with Casey, he'll give you the exact numbers. However, if you want to just kind of fiddle with the dials, you can figure it out yourself.
You there, Casey?
Yeah.
Had to deal with some. Now it's.
This is, let me find the manual.
So here I'm going to try to calibrate this machine while also skipping text.
Yes.
You cannot just hold the skip button to skip text, you have to press it every time a new text box is on the screen. So it's just a lot of pressing and depressing every time a text box comes up, while also trying to calibrate this machine to the exact numbers, Press the button, and we're good to go.
She claims to have a key.
Your May is tower is always tough. Really after her, I don't know anything. I'll do some research.
What's the rush to get?
Starvation. But none of that is gonna. This place breaks. The comm room is filled. It's own starvation.
Drowning sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather take my chimney. Look, Tor. I'm not asking. I mean, there's clearly if the pumps get with the supply rooms, all those disasters. Not to mention, all for you. A fresh start.
Why do you need me? Plenty of people. Why not get one of?
Well, the tower and the obsessed with it. They believe it will, but I don't trust them. You're on a lot.
I'm willing to take.
Oh, fantastic. Well, it's been a long. I'm gonna turn this place. You should get. Good night, tourist. There? Hello? It's Casey.
Are you there?
So now that it's a new day, Casey is going to actually help us calibrate the pump. Luckily, we already have all the calibrations done, so all we have to do is just get through this text dialogue.
I like that attitude. Okay.
Now this is the one part of the dialogue you cannot actually skip.
47.
Anytime Casey's giving you specific numbers or specific instructions on how to calibrate the pump, you are unable to skip that text, which I assume it's because it's very crucial. You cannot continue the game unless you know these numbers, so the developers made it so that this particular text cannot be skipped, so that you are aware of its importance.
Awesome. Okay, almost there. Now it says, depress the automatic confirmation mechanism. Looking at the diagram here, it's a big round button. Should be obvious.
All right.
Yes! The pump beacon lights will be, of course, the system's down here. Oh, and a little tip that should be fruitful, since the tower has the broadcast schedule for Stern. Might be wise to privilege intels. All right, gonna take a few moments.
Got something on my mind.
To install the pump, we have to go back through the catacombs, take a different path this time, and go to a church area. We're going to go ahead and grab this protein bar so we can get a little extra stamina on the run. Our two zombie friends are going to be down here again. It's important to note that you can't just kill them at the beginning and be done with it. Every time you come through here, they're going to be right here. So that's why I choose to just push them aside. Coming up in this section, we're going to meet May Benoit, the one who needs the intel. She wants to meet us face to face because she realizes we're not Henri. He's still just kind of hanging around. And she wants to give us a long quest to get the key. So instead, if we just politely ask her to give us the key, she takes a nap and gives us the key. Normally, whenever you come to this section, you're introduced to a new type of zombie that if you kill it, you can actually gut it and get zombie guts that you can rub all over yourself. It makes you smell rotten and you blend in with zombies. And it's kind of a mini tutorial as where you have to install that pump. There's a huge horde of zombies. And if you do not have the guts smeared on yourself, you're going to die almost instantly. However, if you get to this section fast enough, the game hasn't progressed to the point where the special zombie is in the zombie pool, and therefore the horde doesn't spawn, because without the guts you wouldn't be able to get through the horde, so it just doesn't spawn the horde. You can walk right up to the machine, deliver the pump, and keep running. Now that the first pump is installed, our old friend Henri has finally managed to get himself out of the tree, and he'll just be kind of wandering around our home base the entire time for the rest of the game. He can prove to be a real nuisance, so we pull out our handy knife, and we politely ask him if he would go somewhere else. We're now going to perform a scouting mission. The only way to expand the map is to explore new areas. And every time you explore a new area, adjoining areas will become available the next time. And it just so happens the next area we need to go to is 2 spaces away. So we come here, we check it out, we decide this is a pretty cool place, and we go back home.
You around?
I'm here.
So first thing in the morning, Casey lets us know that he has found the location of a second
You
pump.
took swimming.
You're a real.
He gives us where it's located, and we're going to go off to find it and get it installed.
Specific stuff. Oh, and I hate to, so you should keep thinking.
I'll be as cool.
And hey, for me,
You're welcome.
just hit me up when I'll do my best to stay. Might try. Talk to you soon, Tori.
This next section coming up is one of the more riskier sections. The pump is located in a warehouse building, and there's 2 ways to get in. Either you can do a quest for some tower people and get a key that lets you into the 2nd floor, or you can go in through the 1st floor, which the immediate area is covered in a horde of zombies. The fastest way is, of course, to go through the 1st floor, and with a little bit of manipulation, you can usually get through the horde of zombies without issue. So the trick here is to just bend down, let them see you. They kind of meander over in that general direction. Unfortunately, we have one outlier over here who's not wanting to cooperate, so we just kind of go for it. With a bad case of RNG, however, the second I go under the door, I start coughing, which alerts all the zombies near around me to know that I am right there. However, we manage to make it, and all is good. We pull out our Wolverine claws here because there's some zombies that can spawn in this area, and there's always a helmeted zombie right here. Helmeted zombies, of course, you can't hit them over the head because of the helmet. You need to be able to go up underneath or through the side, and I find these claws are a little bit easier than the knife. We grab our pump, grab the can in our hand, and shoot ourselves. Now, unfortunately, there was a slight mess up there. The pump always comes in 2 pieces. You have the pump and the dial. You have to put the dial on the pump. I dropped the dial and didn't immediately see it, so it warped back into my backpack. So now I have to assemble the pump. The main place where this becomes an issue is the quest does not update until the pump is assembled. So I try to assemble the pump while talking to Casey. However, since the pump is not assembled before I initiate conversation, he kind of goes into one of his side dialogues.
My mind is always swirling. It's impossible to shut it down.
Difficult to maintain.
Hey, this morning, released that much. You ever been to the Badlands?
Realizing that this is going to
Never
take too
been.
long to get through, I decide to just assemble the pump, go to bed so that he'll stop talking to me, and try again in the morning.
We really are in the ground.
Stepping away for a bit.
Take care of your business. I'll wait.
Casey, come in.
Hello. You ready?
Alright, now we're on the right track.
Let's do this.
Great. Let's start with the serial number again. Then I can calculate.
So we're going to start the
forward
calibration
one
process with Casey.
Just like the first time through this.
562.
Okay, let me look at these charts a second. So, here we go. Got it. Set valve A to 26.
Valve A.
Okay, good. Valve B with A at 26 should be set at 39. Valve B to 39.
Valve B.
Perfect.
These little dials can be a
Last
finick
valve.
sometime, but
One second.
eventually
There we
you can
go.
get them
Valve
set to the
C
right
should be
position.
set to 67.
Valve C set.
Yeah, press the round button and we'll be calibrated. When this is all over, we should start a plumbing business.
Once everything is said and done, he's going to let us know that we need to go back
Sounds
to the
like a plan.
church.
Tourist and the lip flap.
Ah, frickin'. Anyways, it'll be on. Good luck.
This time when we go there, there's going to be some humanoids looking at the machine where we have to install the pump. You could go in there guns blazing, fight them off. It might save a second or two. However, I find it a lot more safe to just kind of hold back, give it a couple seconds, they'll walk away. You could walk up, install the pump, run away, save some ammo, save some health.
Maybe it's a malfunction. I'm just saying. Maybe there's not a reason behind everything. Maybe things just happen. Circuits fuck up. I mean, just fuck, man.
Now with the second pump installed, we are going to go and do a scouting mission. Because the next place we have to go to is 2 spaces away again. So we're just going to do a quick travel, check out the area, and come back. Now in the fresh morning,
Yeah.
Casey's going to get on with us, and he's going to let us know that he kind of wants to do something instead of finding the third pump. There was some people in the reserve with him back when everything first went down. They all decided to leave, and he was pretty good friends with one of them named Kenneth. So he kind of wants us to take a break from finding pumps so that he won't die,
What do you mean?
to figure out what happened to Kenneth and possibly everybody else in his old squad. He lets us know that they went over to Rampart High School. At least that's where they were last heading. And if we can make our way over there, just kind of see if maybe we can find out what happened. It is a little odd to me that the reserve is currently flooding, and he has maybe days, hours left to live, but yeah, sure. Let's go do this side quest thing. Rampart High School is the largest map in the game. And unfortunately, by this point in the game, there's not a lot of supplies that spawn because we are so far ahead in the nights. So the likelihood of finding food on the ground gets very sparse. There is 2 cans of beer that always spawn right next to Kenneth. We take advantage of that. We're going to drink one to replenish our max stamina, and we're going to carry one with us so we can drink it later. But leading up to Kenneth, it's very hard to find anything. So here we find Kenneth. He's not doing so well. We decide to put him out of his misery, drink a beer, grab the other one, shoot ourselves. Now normally, if you listen to Kenneth, he gives you this long-winded speech about some stuff that went down at the reserve and how Casey shouldn't really feel bad about what happened. So we need to go talk to Casey, kind of get to the bottom of what's going on. It is a little odd that we never actually reached that point of conversation with Kenneth, but we magically know, so we can talk to Casey about it.
No.
He lets us know that there was a massacre at the reserve when it first started. There was a bunch of people trying to get in. Casey and his friends went out with assault rifles and just gunned everybody down.
We move on.
Casey in particular didn't shoot anybody. He was aiming in the air. However, it still messed him up pretty bad, just seeing innocent people die.
No. You
And
can't sleep.
we kind of give him some encouraging speech to let him know that it's not your fault. You're not guilty. Calm down. Mostly we just want to get into the reserve, and we're not going to get in there unless Casey's on our side. So we do our best to make sure that he is in a nice place, and we can continue our quest trying to get in.
Dripping. I burn.
You never know.
That's exactly.
We've all piled up. Impossible not to. What sets the good and the regret?
I have to.
Then you will be.
If you say so. Look, tourist, and I've got rewire to use this radio. Doubtful I'm getting out without that key, then I'm gonna go.
Casey.
So now we let Casey know that
the key.
we were able to work things out with May, and she provided us the key.
No, look, let's just Okay, so there's been really nothing but there's a barricade. Place has been so
Roll through there one.
spectacular, right? Like another planet. My mom used to drive me through there every summer on the way to see my uncle.
He lets us know that the final pump is in a section called Bastion. So we're going to head on over that way and see if we can't find it. It's in this part of the game that we're going to be introduced to the leader of the Reclaimed. It's a man named JB. He used to be part of the tower, but decided that it wasn't for him, went off, started his own gang. They're a lot more violent and a lot more ruthless than the tower. He actually has the pump we need, and he knows exactly what we're doing. He knows we're trying to get into the reserve with this pump. And he gives us an ultimatum. He says he'll give us the pump, but first we have to listen to his speech. He essentially wants us to flood the reserve. He doesn't want us to unflood it. He doesn't want people to be reliant on all the supplies and everything in there. He wants people to learn to live off the land. And it's a heartfelt speech, but if we ask him politely, he'll just go ahead and give us the pump right now, and we don't have to deal with it. We're going to run outside because we now have a tower patrol out here. They know that JB is inside and they want us to kill him. We let them know that we already did so, and well, now they're going to be friends with us. We can shoot ourselves in the head, and they don't really care at all. The tower being friends with us is important for the final section of the game, because everybody's going to be trying to store in the reserve at the same time. And now one of the two gangs will not shoot at us.
I'm back, Casey.
Yeah.
We let Casey know we have the final pump.
I'm running.
He's
I'm
going to help
ready.
us get it calibrated.
Serial number first.
749.
All right. Set valve A to 38.
Valve A, 38. Green.
Valve B needs to be set at 44.
Valve B, 44. A, B, double green.
You're a machine, tourist. Okay, valve C. Set it to 60.
Valve C to 6.
Excellent. Okay. It's in a concrete and near the statue. Then use the key.
And now to install the final pump, we have to go all the way back to where we originally got the key at the beginning. I have a few extra rounds left in my gun, so I'm going to go ahead and take out all the zombies along the way here. We're going to run through the catacombs a couple times without them respawning, so it's worth it to just save some time right now. Here's the key that May gave us, and now we can install the final pump. Now with all three pumps installed, we can start heading into the final section of the game. Once we get back to the school bus, Casey's going to turn on the machine that's going to start draining the water. There's going to be an unfortunate side effect of this, and that's that the church is going to light up. Tons of searchlights are going to turn on, and it's going to draw everybody to the area, because obviously something's going down.
Casey, come in. It's go.
Awesome, tourist.
That's a load of bull.
Well, you proved me wrong. All right, should work. Okay, here goes. All right, I'm gonna power everything up.
Gonna grab this food to help us make the run a little easier. Nutri-Stew is nice. It's an entirely full stamina gauge from wherever you're at, and it restores a lot of lost max stamina. So this final run of the game is actually the most reset heavy part of the game. When we get down towards the end section, there's going to be reclaimed soldiers who spawn. They have headgear on, so we can't shoot them, and they have assault rifles, so they will shoot us very quickly. The issue is, the section we need to run to can have anywhere from 0 enemies to 3 enemies spawn in this small area. It seems to be pretty much RNG where they spawn, and obviously the less that spawn, the better. We grab a couple cans of pinto beans, and we try to run through. Here's all our tower friends. They're not going to shoot us right now, which makes this run 100 times easier. Regain a little bit of stamina, and make the last run. In a case of bad luck, we have 2 reclaimed soldiers spawn right here. However, they decide to point their rifles at me and do nothing. They just watch me run right on by. I'm not sure what they were thinking, but I'll take it. Get another conveniently placed stew, which lets us climb up this tower right here and get into the church.
Come on, tourist, come on.
It's at this point that Casey lets us know some bad news. In order to drain the floodwater, we have to choose either all the supplies in the reserve, or we have to choose the section that he's currently trapped in. So we have to choose his life or supplies. I'll go ahead and let Casey out.
Oh, it worked! Holy shit! Thank you, tourist!
Here's our old friend Casey. He finally got out of the reserve. He finally gets to be free. So we put him out of his misery. And now we've made it into the reserve. On the other side of this door, there's going to be a boat, and the second we get in the boat, it's going to be time. Not the most perfect run. A few things could have been done better here or there, but overall, it's a very solid time. And that has been The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, any% glitchless speedrun.